Hey, so real quick, I wanted to drop in a little bit before. Well, it might be sometimes. Well, it's 11, so yeah, it might be some people's lunchtime. But anyway, this check-in is more for parents that have school-age children still, and that have been struggling with the IEP and 504 process, even getting your child identified for certain behavioral assessments or designations to give them or equip them with the resources necessary to help them to succeed in the classroom. And so I encourage every parent like to know your rights as a parent. And so one of the things that I do as an education consultant outside of the coaching side of ministry is I advocate. I guess you could say an educational legal advocate um, for parents. And so because I know the system and I know how it works, I know the conversations, I do take my position seriously. That call to education, to stand in the gap, to break things down, to help parents decipher what these people are even talking about in these meetings, making sure that they're coming to the table with what they need and they walk away with the same, with what they need, right, to better serve the child. And so sometimes you may be in situations where you're dealing with a difficult parent in certain meetings and or a parent that tries to impede the progress of a situation from moving forward. And so in those circumstances, I do help parents again identify what they are able to access or the things that they're able to push legally to hold the school accountable, to hold their school districts accountable, to make sure that regardless of any type of interference from the other parent, if they're not willing to cooperate during this process, um, so we can help that situation move forward. And so I've had my own personal experiences, yes, but that is an area that is important to me because a lot of times in the school system, especially middle school and high school students, you have students that are, well, I say elementary and middle specifically because that affects the high school bracket. But you have elementary and middle school students that are they're undiagnosed. Sometimes teachers don't know what's going on, and so you have one teacher that might be new to the field that is not very good with classroom management. And so if that teacher is new to the field, she's not good with classroom management, and chaos breaks out, she's not going to know what to do first sometimes, or he's not going to know what to do first because sometimes they go into the classroom and their first goal is to just teach. Their first goal is not to make sure that they've assessed the needs of every student in the classroom. Okay. And so those of you that are checking in, good morning from wherever you are. I'm Dr. Jen. And so this channel is for spiritual uplift, yes, but I also have consulting information and guidance on here for educators as well as parents to help them navigate the educational process for their child. But when parents don't know, sometimes the children pay for that in terms of not getting the help that they need. Sometimes when decisions are made, generally the parents are supposed to be involved in everything, right? But sometimes parents don't even know just because you're mad at the school and you cancel a meeting, that does not mean the meeting won't go forward without you. Okay. That's not what that means. And so if you have some friends struggling with their students or the schools that their children attend, um, please call them now, tag them in on this conversation because I'm here to help answer questions when I come in during the day like this. I know sometimes parents are at work and they're maneuvering and they're busy and they're doing so many different things, but this conversation needs to be had. It's time out for schools being able to do what they want to do and these children progressively being pushed forward, and then they get to high school and then they're stuck, or they get to middle school and their reading level is stuck at lower level elementary because they're not paying attention to certain things. Okay, it does not make good sense to me that a middle school student can't effectively read and write, but yet they're matriculated on through sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, and they get to high school, and then there's a question mark of how do they get there? Okay, and so in many school districts, parents don't know this, but it's not the school's fault. Many times it's not the school's fault. Oftentimes situations like that occur because the way they have it set up in public school districts now, and many of them, they're not able to go back and reteach throughout the classroom time that they're given. They have to set aside time to do that with their students. So when I was in school and you fell off on something, you were able to get help with the remediation of a standard in real time, right? Well, that's not the same way now. And so um, the teachers are charged with the task of finding a way to implement whatever reteaching information that they have to do at small, like in small groups, right? And so if the teacher is not able to accommodate these kids in these small groups because of how their class is set up or their classroom size, those babies that have low phonics skills, right? No phonemic awareness, right? Those that struggle in math with basic math, if those things are not caught and there's no intervention for them, like even in an after school program or maybe like lunch and learn sometime with the teacher, that's an option that parents can always ask teachers. There are some teachers that love to have their kids during lunchtime and they will sit with students or whatever and talk with them and it will help them go over the things that they need. But sometimes parents don't know because they don't ask. And if a student is struggling, they're in school every day, so they know what the teacher offers, but they don't want to spend their lunch period, with the teacher. But anyway, I just want to make sure that you all know that when I come on, that I'm advocating for young people. I'm advocating for parents. And although I'm on the inside, as an educator, I'm also advocating for I don't know how that turned around. What I pressed. Oh, I'm back, guys. I'm also advocating for um, education as a whole, but educators too. Like I can't say that I'm completely neutral because I hold folks accountable. If it's the school, I'm holding the school accountable. If it's the parents, I'm holding parents accountable. And if it's the students, the parents have a large percentage of say when it comes to the students not doing what they're supposed to do. Now, granted, you teach your children what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do, and then when they get to school, it's on them, right? And they choose to behave or not, and then there should be consequences thereafter. And so there's a small portion of that that's out of a parent's hand. However, when a parent sets the foundation and the standards, their level of expectations, that increases the desired behavior that you want to see in school. And so when that's not present and kids go to school and they cut up and there's no consequence and they don't care about being called, the parents being called, it affects them academically. So then when you go into these meetings for these 504s and these IEPs, it's so challenging sometimes for parents that don't know the language because they're not understanding how much of a role they play in a lot of stuff that's happening. A lot of stuff is happening. So if your student is misbehaving at home and you're having challenges and they go to school and you're still having challenges, there are conversations that need to be had. And so if this is you or you have a friend that is in need of some type of consultation regarding situations like that, you can always give me a call at 904-800-8380, or you can email me the situation, Coach J at coachjonline.com, and tell me what's going on. And I will do my very best to help you fill in those gaps. I do have coaching sessions, weekly, where I can set up windows for parents individually, and I also have, I'm going to start doing sessions every week for a group for parents to come on and to start learning different soft skills for parents to navigate these types of meetings. Because sometimes, like I said before, it can be challenging. And the frustration of it all, uh, sometimes parents don't even know when they're getting the short end of the stick when it comes to stuff like this. And so when you become engaged as a parent, and you learn more about what's going on and you come to the table knowledgeable, the school is less likely to treat you like a pushover. One avenue parents always have. Make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's. But when you've done your part and the school is still slacking, every district has a policy and compliance office, right? All it takes is one phone call. They will listen to you. They will document what you say, and they pass that on to the regional superintendent for that area. So if it's a middle school student, it'll go to a middle grades department. If it's a high school student, it'll go to middle grades in high school will go to the secondary ed. And if it's an elementary student, it'll go to whoever's over elementary, or that superintendent that's assigned to that group for that particular school district. But your concerns are always going to be heard, and by all means, always document. Always, even if you call, I need you to email said person and say, thank you so much for the conversation earlier regarding, because now you have a paper trail. And so with this paper trail will allow you to continue to work with the schools in such a way where they know that you are knowledgeable about what you're talking about. Okay. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me and let me know exactly what your concerns are. All right. But other than that, have a blessed day, and I will be back to talk with you later.